Lovely part of the world, isn't it, George?
Yeah. I think I'll scrub round the Seychelles this year.
Do you see who I see?
What?
Billy Medhurst. Pulling bill. I'd know that bastard anywhere.
Hello again folks, and welcome to another episode. We finished up last time on British Grove in Chiswick in the aftermath of a burglary at the home of Professor Busby. Let's head north to the corner of Stamford Brook Common now, and a solicitor's office in The Bigger They Are. Rumble, Stipton and Pierce, here's a name to conjure with, visited here by Harold Collins, is on the corner of Southside and Stamford Brook Avenue, and these days looks barely touched. Even the shrubs look the same. The squad's been following Collins, and they park up by the common so Carter can suss out who he's meeting up with. This is one of those where, trees blocking our view and newer motors aside, almost nothing has changed here. When Collins leaves the solicitors, he heads south towards Chiswick High Road, which is the direction we're looking in here. There's some spruced up brickwork evident today, but again, a very similar view as in the episode shots. On the opposite corner of the common, we have a short scene from Series 4's Hard Men episode. Kidnapped target Maggie is seen here walking home with her mum. The low wall to our left looks to have survived the passing decades. The surrounding trees have obviously now blocked a lot of what you could once see across the road. We move a bit further north again now, to a scene from another Series 4 episode, Latin Lady. Regan goes to the home of Eddie Hibbard to arrest him over the robbery outside the Delacroix clinic that I featured in a previous video, where cases of money were snatched. Eddie lives with his mum at 89 Wendell Road.
Morning, Mrs. Hibbard.
I'm walking past 89 on the left here. The owners were home and I didn't want to upset them, but here's a still of the house as it looks today. Looking down towards Hartswood Road, past where the car pulled up, you can see again the ubiquitous covering trees today, but an otherwise similar view to that from the episode. A little to the northeast, we're heading back to early in Series 3 and coming in from the cold, where the squad spot one Billy Medhurst at St Elmo's Fish Bar.
Hello, Mrs. Medhurst. How's your old man keeping then?
Regan badly wants to nab Medhurst, who years previously evaded capture for a robbery during which one of Regan's colleagues was shot and crippled. St Elmo's is still open and frying nearly 50 years on, the sort of thing it always gladdens your heart a little to see. To our right here, Billy's 66 Mustang was parked on St Elmo's Road whilst he got his chips. On seeing Regan, he turns tail down Becklo Road, where George is waiting in the squad car.
Billy, give us a chip. Go now!
Apart from the colour scheme and mural on the fish bar, you can see that everything here still looks remarkably similar today. Regan hears George yell and takes off.
Stay put.
A bit of a nondescript sidewall of the chippy here, the view from where Billy's car was parked. Again, you can see that there are only really superficial changes between the episode and now. This longer shot is looking up Becklo Road as Jack joins the chase. And here we are today, different motors but more or less the same view. George catches Billy a little way down the road and gets a right kicking for his troubles. The Gov then takes over and gives Billy what for. Here's the view from further down Becklo Road where the punch-up took place. Incidentally, if you think Jack, George and co look a little warm, the red faces and loosened ties weren't just due to the chase. Much of this was filmed during the infamous heatwave in the summer of '76. As a little aside, I know a lot of people are interested in the motors in the Sweeney, and when I first saw this one I thought, ooh, is that a Shelby? It certainly looks like a Shelby badge here. However, on doing a little digging, people who know a lot more about this sort of thing than I do say that there are various clues to indicate this is probably a regular fastback that's done up to look like a Shelby GT350, so I'm happy to take their word for that. Oh, and if you're wondering, yes I did, and right tasty they were too. We'll stick with this episode and move down to Paddenswick Road by Ravenscourt Park now for a short connecting shot of Billy Medhurst being transported in an armoured van.
Oh, bloody team, he says. Typical. Stay close, Bill.
The most notable survivor here is this white Park Lodge building in the middle of the shot. Further down the road we see that some older buildings have clearly been replaced by more modern housing. We'll continue on down now to Perrers Road and the closing scene from A Taste of Fear. Poor old Hargreaves, eh? First sign of a shooter and he's bottled it.
Gov, there he is, the phone box.
Jack and George, along with Bill and Tom, have been scouring the nearby streets for Hargreaves and they find him cowering in a phone box at the end of Perrers Road. Regan, of course, knew that Hargreaves wasn't Sweeney material right from the get-go, but he takes little pleasure in being proven right.
Yeah, sure.
I couldn't see it.
Come on. Come on, worry never solved anything. Come on. Get him home and stay with him. Get another car out.
Done. What happens to him now?
Chief Medical Officer.
The houses have been spruced up here and the motors are more expensive, but the overall look is much the same. There's clearly been a new house built here that fills in the corner where a longer garden wall and the prop phone box stood in the episode. Not far away in Furber Street, we return to Latin Lady.
Leave that! Follow me!
Pat Tyler is on the run from the squad, who have roused him from his bed. He takes off, having shot at them through a window. The back door they're at here is actually on Naysmith Street. We swing round and look up Furber Street towards Dalham Road. More of what by now we're all very used to seeing here. Brighter paint and many more trees blocking the view. From Naysmith Street, we see Tyler exiting via a back window, shooter in hand. Jellyneck and co drop down behind the garden wall, probably with some laundry to do.
Sorry, the bastard's got a shooter.
That's when Tyler has it away on his toes.
He's trying to make the end wall.
From the street now, it's a little hard to see where Tyler came out of. That's because, as Detective Google here shows us, the window has actually been filled in, probably when this extension was built, but you can still see part of the brick lintel where it used to be. The garden wall where Jelly and co climbed up the dustbins, and then jumped down pretty sharpish, has been considerably cleaned up, but looks to be the same one. The gates may have been replaced, but certainly aren't new. Without troubling our shoe leather, we'll switch back to In From the Cold now. Billy Medhurst is being transported in the armoured van, but his firm have alternative travel arrangements laid on. They ambush the van on Naysmith Street. Here's the ambush site, right outside Pat Tyler's gaff. Birds of a feather, as I say. These terrace cottages on Naysmith Street now sell for well in excess of £1 million each. A far cry indeed from that sun-bleached summer of '76. Regan and Carter are light-handed on this job and take a right pasting from the firm despite a valiant effort. This view looks across Naysmith Street as George gives it his best before eventually going down swinging. The view from inside the prison van looks at the south end of the street, which we can see more clearly without those pesky doors in the way, as Billy is sprung. I didn't have a van to sit in, so I had to sit in the middle of the road for this shot. Luckily it was pretty quiet. Guess the prison transfers take a different route now. We can see that the garages are still there at the end of the street, and the houses look mostly the same, barring the ever popular loft conversions on the couple to the left. Tyler's crew, although we're not to know they're associated at this point, bundle him into this white Austin 1800, which we see looking across from outside Pat Tyler's again. The truck and the Austin both hightail it away, which we see from Further Street looking into Naymith Street, as Jack and George are left to pick themselves up and lick their wounds. Here's that same view today. Don't know about you, but I think I prefer the way it looked in the 70s. Apart from odd places like Notting Hill with its bursts of colour, everything just looks so samey nowadays, all following the modern style guides. Still, that's progress, innit? Let's catch up with Pat Tyler now. He's made it to the top of Naysmith Street, with the squad in pursuit. Here, he turns and fires at the pursuers as he runs out onto Dalham Road, before continuing to run east towards the junction with Cardress Street, where he ducks behind some parked motors. This business on the corner is obviously now a private home, behind where Tyler stops and fires his shooter. As we track along Dalham Road, I had to tinker with the clip speed here to try and match them up. There's the usual themes of tidied up bricks and paintwork, and as we'll see in a moment, there's another business turned residence at the other end of this row, but besides that, not too much has changed. Well, okay, maybe the fashions have. No offence, Gov, but pink shorts and blue Crocs? Take me back to the 70s, please. As Tyler backs out between the parked cars onto Cardress Street, he takes a white fall to the midriff. The houses opposite the junction still look much as they did, beside the odd Velux. Looking from Dalham Road, you can see where what was previously a shop entrance has been squared off, but again, a view that hasn't really changed significantly, all told. We'll head up now to Brackenbury Road for a taste of fear. Mind you, it's thirsty work this, and I was passing a nice pub, so I had a taste of beer first before my final location. Looking to the south end of Brackenbury Road, a police van pulls up to block any potential escape routes in that direction. This incidental music here was also featured in the 1977 movie Rabid by David Cronenberg, incidentally my favourite director. Nowadays, the newsagent on the right and the business directly facing us have both gone the way of private residence, but the buildings themselves are all easily recognisable. Meanwhile, more squad and uniformed officers head down to block any exit north up Brackenbury Road and assemble outside Trampers Travel, where one Tim the Leopard Cook, a vicious armed robber, is holed up. The travel agent at 135 Brackenbury Road is where the sister of Cook's criminal associate works. Like much of the area, the Victorian terraces are now gentrified, a little characterless, and fetch an average of 1.3 million quid. The road forms the heart of what estate agents, without a trace of irony, call Brackenbury Village. I must have missed the cricket pitch and horse paddocks. Anyway, Trampers was in the left-hand side of what is now Brackenbury Food and Wine, which is where Sergeants Daniels and Hargreaves post themselves, ready for the raid. I do love the way the tension builds in this scene, with the quiet moving into position of all the pieces before the all-out noise and mayhem kicks off. Another hallmark of excellent writing and direction. No foreign holidays or armed villains to be had through these doors nowadays, of course, but if, like most posh villagers, you want a can of Stella and a scratch card, then you're sorted. As soon as the shooters go off, Hargreaves' bottle goes, and with it his short career in the SWEENEY. He disappears back up Brackenbury Road, leaving Regan and Carter to tackle Cook. The view today is again pretty easily recognisable, though as usual more obscured by bigger cars and trees. Again, we don't have to move to take in another episode, May, also in Series 3. Regan pulls up and goes into a chippy on Brackenbury Road to speak to Len Holmes, whose nephew Davy is in bother, and whom Regan is trying to help due to his association with Davy's mum, the titular May.
Shot!
We're looking out here from outside what was the chip shop, across to the west side of the road, with the car approaching from the north. We'll spin round to where Regan entered. It was most recently an Indian takeaway, but is now permanently closed. We'll finish up just round the corner on Aldensley Road and back to A Taste of Fear. This is where Regan and Carter go into the travel agents via a back alley, at the same time Daniels and Hargreaves going through the front. Here we're looking south out of the alley with the shops on our right. More officers pile into the alley from the other end.
That's all right, Governor, I've got the key.
Go on, son, give it some. So, here we are in that same back alley nearly 50 years on. Come to London, they said. See the sights and the glamour. My missus does say I go to all the best places on these filming trips. Here we are outside the back entrance to the travel agents. Looks like they've beefed up the fence and gates since George & Co kicked them in. And, joking aside about such locations, it always gives me a genuine thrill to think I'm retracing the exact footsteps of the SWEENEY's finest. And with that, it's time to leave the alleyway and wrap things up for this episode. Pausing for one final look since it's so lovely and picturesque, eh? And there we have it for another video, the route for which is the purple section here. As always, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-da now!